Alright, in this lesson I'm going to show you how we can add sound to your animation. So, I know in our last lesson I thought I was going to cover sound, but I didn't have enough time. So, this one will be dedicated strictly to that, and we're going to have a little bit of fun with it and create a mask again with this background that looks like a flashlight, and then we'll add some sound to it. So, first of all, I'm going to delete these squares that I created during the last lesson. And now, what I'm going to do is turn this new layer that has nothing on it now. Well, first of all, let me name the layers. First, I'll name this one the pick background. And then here I'll name this, well, it'll name it mask. So I'm going to right-click over that new layer, make it a mask layer, and if you remember how we did this before, once we're on that mask layer, and we draw something, it doesn't matter what tool we're using to draw with, or what color it even is, but we have to, this is telling us that we need to unlock it or unhide it. So what we're going to do is, I said yes, and it automatically took that lock off there. So now we can draw on this layer. And I'm going to hold down Shift again, like that. And now I'm just going to create a motion tween for this. First of all, let's make a keyframe at the end of both of these layers. And I will make sure that, see, this mask was this shape I created on the mask was created there on frame 1. But now I'm going to move it, as we did before, down to the corner here. Like so. And now let's quickly add a motion tween in between. Forgot to convert it to a symbol. So I'm undoing our keyframes. Make sure our shape is selected. I'm going to F8, convert it to a symbol as a movie clip, and just leave it as symbol 1 is the name. Now I will enter a keyframe, insert keyframe, insert keyframe, and now make sure that layer 10 is selected, and now I'm going to move this down here like so, and now create our motion tween in between. And we can hit enter to play it like so, and we can test the movie like so. Now it's revealing what's in the background there. And now we're going to add some sound to it. So I just want to make a simple little animation that we can repeat over and over again. So this is similar to that flashlight that we did earlier, but this time we have an actual picture behind it, and we have a blue background. So what we're going to do is File, Import. Import to library. Now we've done something like this similar. It needs to be a WAV file. It can't be a MP3 or a WMA. So in this case I picked a WAV file, a song of mine. And here's something else I discovered that you may find beneficial. If you're inserting a sound file, it has to be 44.1 kilohertz. Otherwise, it'll play it super slow and it's like it has to be 44.1 kilohertz. So you can always tell that if you take the file, right-click, Properties, click on the wave, and then click Summary, and you notice here 16-bit, 44 kilohertz. So if this is 96 kilohertz, it will not play the audio properly. All right. So let's bring this back up. And we will minimize our alignment panel, open up our library panel. And there is our wave. And when we click on it, we see our physical representation of the wave file, which we could play from here to test it out, like so. Now you can hear it. And then stop. And then here are some other options. When we right-click over it, go to Properties. Of course, you could edit it if you have an external audio editing program. If you want, you can play it. Instead of hitting that play button, you can play it from here. But we're going to go to Properties. So wait a second for it to come up. There we go. So here are the properties for the wave. Tells us it's 16-bit, 44 like we want. Now here's the one that I was going to show you. Compression. So if you leave it at default compression, I want you to listen to the difference. There's these other compressions, and we're going to choose them in a minute. So I'm going to cancel. And first of all, we haven't even made this wave. Even though we've imported it to the library, we've not made it a part of this animation yet until we go down here to Sound, pick the layer we want. It doesn't really matter which one. Choose that layer and then go Sound, Mic Wave, which was the name of this here. It will only appear after you import it to the library. Now here's some important sync options. Start, stop, stream. If you pick event, it's going to keep overlapping over top of itself because this animation is so short. It'll then begin to try to play that song again even though it hasn't completed, and it'll keep overlapping. So what we're going to choose is start, and we can choose to loop or repeat. We're going to choose repeat. Now if we go to Control, Test Movie, let's watch. So now we have audio background. But do you notice how the quality of the audio, I don't know if you can tell, doesn't sound too good? It should sound better. So I'm going to close out of that. If you play it through here, through your library panel, it's going to sound a lot better. See how much clearer that is? So what's happening is it's using its default compression. So what we're going to do is we're going to change, right-click over this, go back to Properties, and we're going to change the compression off of default. See, this will be very important for you to remember. And I'm going to choose MP3 because now we get to choose the bit rate, so it doesn't sound so low quality. And I'm going to choose at least 80 kilobits per second in order. We can adjust this, but just leave it as fast for now. And now it's going to sound much more clearer when we play the actual movie or animation. So it says convert stereo to mono. We can do that or not. It doesn't really matter with this particular exercise. But now that I've changed the compression, let's test the movie and notice the difference. Control, test movie. Give it a second to load. Here we go. Okay, you notice that it's a lot clearer. You did notice some choppiness to it, and that's because we got a lot of programs running, and it's very memory intensive. But the quality of the actual audio has increased dramatically. So that's a way to add sound to an animation. And remember, if you have these adjusted improperly, like if we have event, let's notice if there's any difference. Give it a second. See how it's then repeating? It keeps. See that? See? So it's overlapping too much. So every time the event begins, then it keeps repeating the wave. So that's why, in this case, start and then repeat is fine. So you can do some experimenting there. So that's how we add audio to the background of an animation. Enjoy.